Hello guys, welcome back. In the last video we have created a seed where we have added one tenant and a user. If you are new to this channel, you can check out our last video part 2. We just have created one user and a tenant, and we have attached that user to that particular tenant. So in this video we are specifically focused on creating a new panel from where we can manage all the tenants, where we can manage all the manage all the tenants. So let's start by creating a new panel. PHP artisan make filament panel. Okay, why new panel? Because this panel will be used by a tenant. So we have already named it admin, but the admin is for the tenant. So to manage that tenant, we as a super admin role, or we as a we are going to create a new panel. So we can manage the tenant. We can set we can make user login, user access to login or not. We can add new user, we can create a new tenant, we can manage settings of tenant. Everything will be managed from our same panel. So in that panel, what we will do is list all the tenants that we have. We can create a new tenant, and we can add user or remove the user from that. So let's create a new panel. I will make it name tenant manager. Okay, if I go to tenant manager panel provider, so it has already created me with the ID of path tenant manager. So if I will go to tenant manager login, sorry, I think I missed. Okay, tenant manager, it is telling me 404 not found. So let's first change the path. I will write it as a admin console. Okay, admin console. Okay, see, now we are, this will be the admin panel from where we can manage these tenants. So we have currently two admin panels. So let me first remove this filament widget. Okay, filament, let me comment this, and let me change the color to, let's say, blue, or I love green. Okay, so I have changed. So let's first start by creating a tenant resource here. So what we'll do, PHP artisan make filament resource tenant resource, and it will ask for us to create that resource on which panel. We need this resource on tenant manager, so I will create on it this. If I will refresh it, now I have a tenants table, and see, we have a list of one data. How this data is come? Because we have already one tenant in our database. Okay, let me go to tenant resource. For let's first change the name here. Tables, columns, text column, make name. Level will be tenant name. Okay, this is the name that will be in our database, and this is the custom name label that I want to show for that column. If I go tenant name, and it will check for my tenant, and if you see here is one tenant with the name my tenant, right? So if you remember, create tenants table, we have added email and contact on that resource. So let me quickly add here. Tables, columns, text column, make email, label email, and okay, so let me copy this, duplicate this, and say contact, and it will be contact. Okay, see, okay, that's great. So but what we can do is, if you want to search by tenant name, email, or contact, you can simply add searchable. Filament will handle all the things behind the scene. Searchable, searchable. Quickly see tenant, tenant, a random, no tenants. So it will Filament will handle these things. If you want to sort the columns, for example, if I have more than 4 to 5 or let's say 15 to 20 tenants, then sometimes I need to sort them. So what can I do is to sort them, I can simply use sortable and sortable. So this will what this will do is, now if you see the output, let me refresh. See, in tenant name, in email, in contact, now I can sort the record with these columns. See, I can sort with this, or this. So that's great. So now we have a new button here from where we can create a new tenant, but we don't have any forms. So let's quickly add the form. To add the form, we need to go inside this schema, forms, components. So I will create one section. Inside the section, so what will section do is it will separate us at least a different part for us. It is like a one div. So we will create firstly text input, from where we will use name. Again, this will be the database name. Filament will automatically fill this to this column in database. Let's say label tenant, an anti-tenant name, and we need it as a required. Great. If I quickly check, see, tenant name. Similarly, now I will quickly add the contacts form component. Text input is just to make email, label email. Email is also required for us, so I'll make it mark as required. And similarly, let me create for contact, make contact level, so contact required. So okay, these are these three: name, email, and contact. And if I want to separate these columns too, because I only want 2 columns at one row, then I can do this. Okay, great. Now if you want any extra rules, you can add, for example, unique. You can add unique, right? Or anything rules. You also have rules to create, like if you have any extra rules to validate for this, you can add rules. So Filament is great for the admin panel. See, we now almost 90% of our CRUD operation is already done here. Simply we need to create a columns name and the form. So if I press the edit, see, it is already handled. Okay, now for this we need to add to the fillable property in tenant model. Let me quickly go to tenant model. Protected $fillable equals to name will be fillable, email will be fillable, contact and data. These things will be fillable. If you want all the protected fields fillable, you can directly do protected $guarded equals to empty. It just works as a reverse for fillable. So let me save. See, saved. If I go back to tenant, the number is already saved. Now if I will create a new tenant, let's say Nepal, or okay, new tenant, it's too difficult to name it. New tenant @tenant.com 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1. Great. Now we already have a tenant. But if you go back here, I cannot see that tenant. Why? Because only the tenant is created, but as a user, as a test user, I don't have permission. I am not attached to that tenant. So to manage that, what we will do is we will quickly create one relation manager in Filament. So from which we'll get one table here in which we can see which users are attached to that particular tenant. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me go to relation manager, and simply what we can do is, let me just copy this. Okay, make filament relation manager. What is the resource name? I think tenant resource. What will be the relation? It's obviously users relation. And what is the name? It is title, it is the user's name. So we will first enter resource name, then the relationship name, and after that we will check for the name. So where we will create tenant manager. Clear? So if I refresh, sorry, in this panel, if I go here, new tenant, so it is not here still. So for that, what we need to do, if I go to tenant resource, if you will check here, we will get a new folder, and we have got a new file, users relation manager with users name. Okay, so we need to register this. To register this, we will have one array of get relations function. We simply need to call that. If I refresh it, see, we already get this. If I go to our old tenant, I think this is my tenant. If I'll check, see, new user, and I have already got test user. Why? Because I was already there. So in this way the relationship manager works. So what will we do is, let me quickly add a functionality to, instead of new user, cause we will not create a complete new user here. What we will do is, we will attach existing user to this organization, to this tenant. Remember, we will attach existing user to this tenant. For that, if I will go to users relation manager. Okay, instead of create action, which is this action which we will have on table header action, I have commented it. What I will create is tables actions attach action. If I refresh it, attach, now I can see test. Okay, I don't have any relation on users model. Let me quickly do that. Tenant, okay, copy, and let me paste these two. Okay, I have tenants relation, and it is asking for which relation? Tenants. Okay, you can just make it tenants cause it's the same thing. Okay, now if I go test user, if I see what I have done is, I have attached that user to new tenant. If I go to our tenant dashboard and refresh the page, currently I am in new my tenant. Now I can see the list of the tenants, and I can switch it easily. See how easy it is. Again, let me quickly show you. Let me create a new tenant with name Laravel tenant. Okay, Laravel @laravel.com 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1. Leave it. We don't have added any validations, and currently there is no user. And if I go here, and I cannot access that tenant too. So to simple, what we will do is attach action, and now I will search for that user, which is test user. If I will attach it, let me refresh this page, and let me see, I am now in Laravel tenant or my tenant or any tenant. I can access it. So we don't have this edit functionality yet. We will edit later on. And delete. Remember that delete will delete the user, not from the tenant, but it will delete the user. So like we attach the user, now we need to detach the user. So for that, we have detach actions, not delete action. We don't use delete action. Instead, we will be using detach action. because we are not deleting the user, we are just removing the user from that tenant. So currently if I will see here, I have 3 tenants, right? Let me detach myself from Laravel tenant. Let me detach it, confirm, and let me try to refresh. See, I am not accessible to that, and if I now see, I don't have any access to that tenant. So this much for this video. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. So hopefully I am targeting for 25 subscribers. So thank you so much.